Today we're going to separate feelings from facts because I'm starting to notice that a lot of people are walking around with invisible search warrants. And I'm not talking about to houses or cars or anything like that. I'm talking about to people's character. You see, the second somebody says something you don't like, or the minute your feelings get involved, a lot of you like to start kicking in doors that were never yours to enter. Oh, I know what you meant. I know what you were thinking. I know what's really in your heart. Really? How? And according to what standard exactly? Because if a police officer can't search your house or your car because they have a feeling, why should you be able to search somebody's motive because you got offended? Right? Because somewhere along the line, a lot of y'all feelings got promoted from witnesses to prosecutors, and now they're trying to be the judge. And I call that the emotional search warrant. So let's investigate. You see, everybody got feelings, right? That's a natural part of being human. But somewhere along the way, we stopped treating our feelings like they're signals and started treating them like they were evidence. And that's where a lot of the trouble begins. Because your feelings can tell you something that happened to you, but they can't automatically tell you what happened because of me. I mean, those are two completely different claims altogether. But let's test this out real quick, right? So you can see where I'm going. Imagine a police officer knocks on your door and he says, I got a feeling you got drugs inside, right? What do you do naturally? You ask, do they have evidence? He says no. Do you have a witness? No. What about probable cause? No, I just have a feeling. Now ask yourself, would you unlock your door? Absolutely not. Why? The whole point, because your feelings aren't probable cause, nor are they evidence. I mean, a feeling might justify asking a question. It doesn't necessarily justify reaching a verdict against somebody. Now, let's bring that same standard into everyday life, where you'll see people frequently making claims like, I feel like you're racist. I feel like you're anti-black. I feel like you hate women. I feel attacked. Oh, I know what you really meant. Slow down, slow down. Pump your brakes, okay? Because how did you get from this person's words to their motive like that? Where's the bridge? Where's the receipts and the evidence? You see, too many people like to skip the investigation and jump straight to convicting somebody. And I don't know if anybody told you this, but that's not critical thinking. That's emotional policing. Now, don't misunderstand me on this, because I'm not saying your feelings aren't real. I mean, if you hurt, you just might be hurt. If you offended, you might really be offended. I'm not debating whether you felt something or not. Trust me, I'm not. I'm simply asking whether or not if your explanation of that feeling is true or not. And those are not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you can sincerely misunderstand somebody. You can even mishear them. You can even assign a motive to somebody that doesn't exist. But you being sincere, yeah, that doesn't automatically become evidence. That's why the Fraconic detective asks different questions. What exactly was said? Quoted. What's the context? Is there another explanation? If so, what evidence did you use to rule out those explanations? Because if your conclusion is true, then it should naturally survive investigation. And then here's something else I noticed. That emotional search warrant, it only seems to work in one way. How people want you to be convicted by their feelings, but the moment somebody judges them by their feelings, on the other hand, oh, now everything starts to change. Now everybody's saying, hold on, you're taking me out of context. That's not what I meant. You misunderstood me. Exactly. When it's your reputation on the line, now all of a sudden you remember evidence exists and it matters now, right? That's the whole point. So why do you forget that when it's somebody else's reputation on the line? Same standard, no exceptions. Now here's another test. Imagine if I were to walk up to you and said, I feel like you're a liar. Would that settle the matter for you? Or would you immediately ask, what evidence do you have? Exactly. Then maybe you should extend that same fairness to everybody else. Justice isn't measured by whose feelings are louder. They're measured by whether the evidence can actually support the accusation or not. Even scripture tells people that they should verify information before they accept it and to judge with justice. Not with assumptions, vibes, or emotional certainty. You need evidence. A lot of you don't seem to understand that your feelings might can start an investigation, but they can't finish one. They never will. So, here's my verdict. Your feelings may matter. They may even deserve to be acknowledged, but they don't get to outrank the evidence at all. You feeling offended doesn't prove somebody's intent. You being uncomfortable, yeah, it doesn't prove that that person is guilty. Because if your accusation can't survive one simple question, what evidence authorizes that conclusion? Yeah, maybe you didn't have a case after all. If anything, you may have had an emotion looking for a conviction. And that's very dangerous. Because once your feelings become a search warrant, that means nobody's character is safe. Anybody can be declared guilty because somebody had a bad feeling. That's not justice at all. That's vigilantism. Hell, emotional vigilantism. So the next time somebody says, I feel like, don't ignore their feelings on that. But I wouldn't stop there either. Just ask the next question. What evidence authorizes that conclusion? Because over here, yeah, I don't investigate with vibes. I investigate with receipts. And before we investigate, we separate. We act according to what standard? Then we investigate, weigh, conclude, and reopen the case if stronger evidence emerges. So, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.